Well, bowling fans, we're back again from Gutormson Recreation Center, the 2011 EFXBowling.com Border Battle Boys Finals. Enjoy three of the strongest youth bowlers in the Midwest on the show today.
I mean, this is why we're here. We're showcasing the talent from our area as well as Northern Illinois. I mean, it's as fun to watch these players in action as it is a PBA player.
Yeah, we're going to have a great match in the boys division today. And, of course, finishing everything up at the border battle, the Wisconsin versus Illinois team shootout, and Team Wisconsin looking to go for year number 2.
And even though we try and stay impartial, we know we're rooting for Wisconsin. We love Wisconsin. And we know there's some talent down south of the border. In fact, they may be the stacked team, but anything can happen.
It's going to be a great final match to wrap up our 2010-2011 Hammer U Challenge season. Join Joy and I back for our boys opening match from Gutormson Recreation Center in just a couple of minutes. I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs, and a free Wi-Fi hotspot. And being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too. And we're here from Gutormson Recreation Center in Kenosha, the boys semifinal for the 2011 EFXBowling.com Border Battle. Enjoy. Power versus power in this match, and Cotie Holbek leading it off.
Yeah, neither of today's combatants leaves anything in the bag, do they, Phil?
Not at all.
Now, they're on synthetic lanes and synthetic approaches, correct?
Correct.
What can you tell us about today's lane oily pattern, since we see Cotie miss the headband?
Yeah. Same thing we saw on the girls' show. It's a 34-foot pattern, but there's two distinct zones where you can play the lanes. What seemed to be easier during qualifying, and you'll see Kyle out there, was the very outside line, outside of first arrow. There's another area you could play the lanes between second and third arrow, getting it out to about 8th board down lane, but as we saw Cotie on his first shot, got it a little wide, didn't come back to get the head pin, but he covers up the spare in his second shot.
Yeah, and it did appear as though his spare shot, that ball took off a little bit and definitely hooked cross lane, yet on the first ball, even with that high rev rate, it didn't make the corner.
Exactly, and with the two distinct zones the bowlers are going to be playing in, you're going to see shots that miss outside their target area are going to either miss the pocket, or if they're playing way outside like Kyle here, go in the gutter. And Kyle just scrambles the rack.
Yeah, Kyle finds a way to get it done more often than not. And, you know, I'd call him a power player, Phil, but he really does have it under control in that he's not all over the place.
No, not at all. The short, muscled backswing, reminiscent of two-hand players with a one-handed style for Kyle, really lets him make subtle adjustments that other bowlers might not be able to keep up with. And those subtle adjustments got him named to the 2011 Dexter All-American team, one of only 7 youth bowlers in the U.S. for boys to get named to that team.
Runaway crossover. Now, that's not too common for Kyle to almost miss the head pin right. So that talks about those oil zones and friction zones that are on this lane. You know, 1 or 2 board error can turn into a 5 or 6 board error down lane.
Yeah, I mean, 26 feet of drive from the end of the oiling pattern to where the ball gets to the head pin, and yeah, that subtle mistake on that can really make a huge difference.
It takes a spare ball out to convert that spare, and we'll see if he can figure that left lane out, but it definitely seems like that lane could be the trickier of the two.
Yeah. Want to thank the whole Gutormson family and the staff here at Gutormson Recreation Center for hosting the border battle for the 2nd consecutive year. Let's see if Cotie can get himself zoned in here on lane 28. Much better shot.
No problem on the right lane for Cotie. 17 years of age, product of Burlington High School, and a product of Merrill Draper. We'll have to give Merrill some credit there.
Yeah, another one of the Town and Country Lanes bowlers making a TV show.
Yeah, that's not by accident, Phil. He has a history of producing and developing some young talent here, both girls and boys.
Yeah, and with the bowlers, Merrill runs a sport condition league for the kids on Mondays during the summer now. These kids get a lot of practice in tougher conditions, and when they hit them in tournaments like this, they feel confident. They don't feel scared, and that mindset difference is huge when it comes to bowling under the lights here on TV.
Right. And you're more familiar with what you're on, even though Cotie doesn't look as familiar on this left lane. He may have had an approach issue there. Again, missing the head pin right. Should be able to cross the 1-2 on that, and he just does it, just enough. Keeps his Dutch 200 going.
Keeps it clean, and that's huge right now. We saw with the girls' division matches, spares were a problem for the young ladies, and both the matches in the girls' division were decided by less than a mark.
Right.
So,
well, when we say a 34-foot pattern and there's 26 feet for the ball to hook, that doesn't always make them easy.
Especially with the high friction equipment of today. I mean, Kyle here using a Mission 2.0, and that's a pretty aggressive bowling ball.
It's a very aggressive core in a medium strength cover, and that helps the ball clear the fronts, and normally gives it a little more back end reaction than that. So there could be some oil carry down. I mean, every time a spare ball is thrown down the lane, that oil gets pushed down toward the pocket more.
Yeah. And they are bowling after the girls' show was done, so Nicole Kluchin, there was a lefty on the girls' show at Nicole Kluchin, so Kyle did have somebody kind of help him out and get some oil on his side.
Possibly help him out, you're right. So it looks like the first bowler to get a double in this match could be the winner, Phil.
It could be. I don't foresee either of these bowlers missing a spare. I mean, both very good spare shooters for being somewhat power players. They know marking during these tournaments is the difference between getting some scholarship money back and missing a cut. So,
yeah, Kyle struck. Oh no, he did on this lane. He left a runaway 5-pin and another high hit on that lane. So he's seeing early friction on 27, where Cotie is seeing no friction, or at least he's hitting oil somewhere.
yeah, and with the way the pattern's set up, the young ladies bowling before it, there were a couple more righties out there on Cotie's side of the lane. Cotie could definitely have a carry-down issue playing that inside zone where most of the bowlers on the girls' show did play the lane. Where Kyle's getting extreme dry on the outside part of the lane, being one of only two lefties.
All right, let's see if Cotie can kind of settle down here. He went high flush last time on this lane.
Gets himself relaxed before he gets into that 5-step approach with that high torquing swing.
Looks like a tropical heat he's using, and that ball is designed for length and strong back end.
But he's not getting the strong back end he's looking for, because that's another light shot on lane 28.
Well, I look on his bio sheet, Phil, and he's got a Ebonite Mission, strong ball, Reign Supreme, strong ball, Virtual Gravity, strong ball, Jigsaw Trap, Prodigy, strong. His only reasonably tame product is the one he has in his hand, and I think he's using it because it gives him length.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the little extra back end right there with chopping the 2-4 off the 2-4-5 is going to put him in the hole by 10 pins.
Yeah, it's surprising he didn't use a spare ball on that, since that spare is so choppable.
Yeah, especially with hooking back ends with all the extreme dry that's out there. And he looks like he's made a ball change, Joey.
Yeah, he went to the. Looks like the red ball could be Reign Supreme or the Mission, but I believe it's the Reign Supreme.
Yeah, makes a good move before the commercial break. And Joey and I will be back from GRC in just a couple of minutes. Second half of our boys semifinal coming to you from Guitar and Recreation Center in Kenosha. And Joey, Kyle Anderson here, got himself a little bit of a break with Cotie chopping that spare a couple of frames ago.
Yeah, and right after you mentioned we probably won't see a spare miss, and a chop is not a miss, but it is a miss, if that made any sense.
Yep, it's an error on it's an open frame on the score sheet, even though you probably shot the ball too well, and Kyle shot that ball very well, getting all 10 pins back in the pit.
Yeah, and he's smelling blood in the water, and sign of a good player. Jump on your opponent when your opponent is struggling to a certain extent, and let's see if Kyle can get our first double of the match. Make sure his foot is set properly.
Lines up with that left foot. Most left-handed bowlers line up with that right foot. He's got the little unorthodox style, and once again, high on 27.
Yeah, that lane is definitely eating these kids alive so far. So he who figures it out first, Phil, will probably be the victor.
Yes, indeed. And, not a good break to not take the 8-pin out there. You got to make sure you get that back pin out. That brings the chop into play with chopping the 2-pin off the 4. And if you don't get enough hook on the back end, you could leave that 8-pin. I don't envy shooting this spare right now.
He stays with his strike ball and covers it nicely.
Textbook cover on that 2-4-8. Maintains a 10-pin lead, getting into Cotie Holbek's half of the 6th frame.
You know, Cotie made a ball change in the 5th frame to an Ebonite Mission. Or no, I think we decided it was the Storm Rain Supreme. They're both kind of deep red. Mission being a rust color 2.0.
Staying with the original with the tropical heat on lane 28.
Yes, he is. Deep inside line. Ball never got the push. And again, we know that cover doesn't need a lot of oil for push, but it definitely, when it sniffs dry, it makes a move.
Yeah.
And he was surprised on that, Phil.
I think so. I think he started where he wanted to on the lane, and he just needs a little more projection right out to the break point to get that ball to get through the pocket clean instead of going high and leaving a 3-6.
So a bowler like Cotie, I mean, his strength is his A game, power game, likes to curve it a little bit. Should he possibly be going more direct and not trying to cover as many boards?
I think so. I mean, it worked for our top seed Ryan Zagar all day, and you'll see him next match. Ryan, we've seen before, he can hook the lane just as well as Cotie can. Ryan went with a very direct approach today and led the field by 60 pins getting into the TV finals here.
He carried light pocket last time on this lane, and that ball read early as well. And again, Cotie, this is not like Cotie. When he's on a hittable shot, he'll whack him, but this is a tricky pattern out here, Phil.
Well, Cotie earlier in the day today was outside the cut line getting into our last game of qualifying, shot 289, got in the cut line, and then got his way through the semifinals. So we know Cotie shot big scores earlier today on the same pattern. Just this pair has kind of gotten him a little confused a bit.
Well, on the same pattern, but possibly with different amounts of lineage on it. We know how patterns can start out pretty nice and all of a sudden get a little spooky and tricky, and that's what he's seeing on both lanes right now.
Yeah, but he's got both spares in the 6th and 7th frames and keeps him well within winning this match, especially if Kyle makes a mistake.
Yeah, he's staying above water, but again, Kyle usually finds a way to catch something here, and pretty good shot there, Phil. Almost a solid 8-10 for a lefty. The ball finishing too strong. Maintains his 11-pin lead.
And he just kind of tickles that 8-pin out of there. You're watching the replay. Head pin comes back across, takes out the 10, and just barely gets the back of the 8-pin.
The 8 was late, but now let's see if he can figure out this lane here.
Yeah, he has not struck yet on this lane, Joey.
No, and most of the shots have all come high. In fact, yes, all three have either crossed over or gone beak. So logically, he would move right with his feet.
And
a little high flush, but a stone 8.
Almost a 6-8. Lucky to trip that 6 out and keep himself in the lead with a spare, or much easier spare than the 6-8 attempt.
You know, 9 spare in a match like this, he has to be somewhat happy with his opponent's not dialed in, but that's not to say Cotie's not going to go a 3-bagger or a 4-bagger to finish the match.
Yeah. And one thing, remember, everybody, they're not bowling on your typical lead shot here. They're bowling on patterns that are similar to what PBA professionals see on the national tour, the regional tour. So they're not bowling on a cake shot out here. They got to work to knock these pins down.
Right, and the working means making spares as well, and we see their spare games are only one open so far in spare attempts, and that's huge.
Yeah, that was a chop on Cotie's part in the 4th frame on this lane, and that ball just did not want to get back up to the pocket.
Yeah, he's getting all over-under, and when anyone mentions the word over-under, it's normally not a pretty sight. It means you're getting overreaction at times in the friction areas and underreaction when the ball stays in the oil. No problem with the spare, and he knows he's going to need the double here, or it's probably going to be lights out, because Kyle just doesn't open that often.
Above180.com, great podcast recently. I know you talked to both the participants in Bottlegate from the PBA team shootout.
Yes, both Jason Belmonte and Sean Rash, and we heard both their sides of the story, and it's some interesting things developed out of that.
Yeah, and with the PBA season right around the corner, well, a couple of months down the road from when this airs, you really should keep up on a lot of interesting talk with players on the tour, coaches. Great stuff at Above180.com, and Joey, you and Tim Berg do a great job on that podcast.
Thank you, Phil. And Cotie converts the 5-pin. Was that a 9-pin?
That was a 9-pin. Yeah, he crossed over on that one, left the 9. Right now, Kyle's maximum score, if he strikes out, would be 216. That would be more than enough because Cotie's maximum is a 193. Kyle can get himself a double here anywhere in the 9th and or the first 2 in the 10th and stay clean. And
well, he has struck on this lane, Phil, all but one shot. So he's 3 for 4 on this lane. Correct that, 4 for 5. And when you own one lane, it does take a little bit of the pressure off. Obviously, you want to trying to hit both lanes, but it's nice to have one lane you can count on.
Yeah, and definitely for 28 for him. The ball seems to be reading the lane much smoother on lane 28, where it's a gradual arc to the pocket, where we've seen that ball just snap off the dry on 27 and really get him in trouble. So he's probably going to be looking to maybe flatten the release out a little bit on this shot and keep it in play.
A little bit high pocket, 8-pin. That's a little better. Kick that 7 off the wall. And the match is over, and he will shoot a 2-0 game or better.
2-0 or better right now, assuming he doesn't bounce one off his ankle. I don't think I've ever seen Kyle do that on all the U Challenge events he's bowled in over the years.
You'd think he would have, with his aggressive, loosey-goosey, style.
Yeah. I mean, there aren't too many events that Kyle hasn't made the TV finals over the last couple of seasons. I think he's made 13 of our 19 events over the last 2 years, so it's a pretty good track record.
And there's other quality lefties out there. It's not like it's a easy shot on the left side, tough on the right side. There's plenty of good lefties that aren't making cuts when Kyle finds a way to make it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We saw that up in Wisconsin Dells, especially in the triple threat team tournament. Him and Brett Isaacson, both two different. They made both TV shows up at the Kalahari on 2 distinctly different patterns, and it just shows you the talent that Kyle has, along with Brett. Lefties don't always have it easy, as everybody likes to think.
No, most of the time they do, but not all the time. No. And a light 8, why not, Cotie? I mean, 2 strikes for Cotie this game. Again, he just never. If you never get a good look, it can make the game plenty tough. And he saved himself another bad shot there by not sparing him from the bad shot. So he had finished 171, about 40 pins lower than he normally shoots.
Yes, indeed. And with that, we'll be back from GRC with our boys' finals in just a couple of minutes. All bowling fans, you've waited all day for it. The boys' championship and kind of the dream match I thought we'd see a little earlier in the year between Ryan Zagar and Kyle Anderson. You guys say our top 2 ranked bowlers in the Hammer U Challenge Series, Joey.
Well, Ryan, definitely one of Wisconsin's best. Good young kid, solid game, high backswing, solid at the line, doesn't juice it or horse it at the release. He does it the way we want him to do it. The way any top coach wants their student.
Absolutely, and you see Ryan playing that straighter line as compared to what Cotie was playing last match, and boy, like I said, Ryan lapped the field and
right. He's in that other zone we talked about earlier, and if he moves, he'll make a big move inside and curve it. But after seeing Cotie struggle, my guess is he's going to stay straight and just make good shots.
Yeah, straighter is greater for both these bowlers right now. See Kyle starting off as well, and just
Kyle's good lane, and again, we'll see how Ryan can handle that left lane, because that lane did cause more problems for Cotie than did the right. And
yeah.
Kyle, we think, kind of figured this left lane out a little bit toward the end of the match. If you remember, he went 8-pin a little high, then he struck, so he has a better look on that lane now.
Yeah, and definitely needs to keep that back end reaction tame. Doesn't want that ball overhooking when it gets off the end of the oil pattern, and I think we've seen Kyle achieve that in his last couple of shots, as you mentioned, Joey. Then usual stance, the human pretzel 5-step approach, torques it through the shot. Oh my!
And every strike is going to be very important in this match. We know it's going to take over 200 to win.
Yeah, championship matches always seem to be that little bit higher scoring than the semifinal matches, whether it's the bowlers are just amped up a little bit more, or the quality of the players as well. Both these bowlers under the TV lights many times in their careers now, so butterflies are probably still there, but at a minimum. Smooth coming through.
Right down about 7/8 board. Something got that 10, kind of pushed it off the deck.
I'll have to see on the replay. I think they may have just been the head pin messenger, but it skipped across a couple times. Take a look here. Yeah, watch the head pin.
That's the head pin doing a little dance, getting its job done.
Doing the 3-step there to get over and hit that pin. And you think Ryan liked that one once you got the messenger out of there?
And again, that's done without hook. That's done with good roll on the ball, a soft hand at the release, and a little bit extra ball speed helps as well.
Yeah, Ryan definitely in the 19-mile-an-hour ball speed range, and 3 in a row.
And he liked that off the hand. Small lead for Ryan here.
10-pin lead, but Kyle can get that right back if he can get his own turkey. And watching that replay, and just watch that ball just ease through the pocket, take all 10 pins out. Castle Lanes will be back there kicking off our 2011-2012 season with a couple of Youth Challenge tournaments in August. Make sure, bowlers, you check your local bowling centers for those entry forms and information about how you might be able to get yourself on TV as well, like these bowlers have. And first time we've seen Kyle leave on week 7 today.
Yeah, and you wonder why sometimes, and the ball definitely deflected upon entry in the pocket. Probably his release, you can't blame anything really but yourself on that. And he'll convert to his spare ball, go cross lane. Should be all over it. He's a very good spare shooter.
Yes, indeed. And that's what he does take pride in his spare game. He's won him many tournaments where he's gotten to strike fests and covering up those spares. He ends up winning a tournament by 15, 20 pins because he's making that extra spare or two that his opponent's letting get away.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of players on tour, Phil, they can strike, but it's he who converts the spares that generally we see on TV every Sunday.
Like the old golf phrase, strike for, kind of change it around, strike for show and spare for dough. And looking to get back in the pocket, and there's a surprise on lane 27.
He came up a little shy, and if we remember from the last match, he had been high on that lane more often than not, so he may have over-adjusted or just amped up the speed.
I think he amped up the speed because he was looking up at the scoreboard and he was checking his ball speed up there, because nowadays with these modern automatic scoring, they do have ball speed indicators. Might not always be accurate as to the true ball speed, but from shot to shot you can compare. Maybe you were off by a fraction on that the register on the score monitor, and that could have been the difference.
Right. So he's giving a little breath of fresh air for Ryan. Ryan doesn't want to see Kyle go front 8. So let's see if Ryan can respond and throw a little 4-bagger Kyle's way.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Ryan earlier in this year against A.J. Johnson at the Chocolate Chitty Challenge. Ryan got out the gates with the front 7 and never looked back.
Right down board 6 there. Carries the Wally. Okay, he's got the front 4. His opponent's got a double and spare. So it's kind of like being in the 4th inning of a baseball game, and you're in the lead 4-2.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean much.
No, you got to keep either putting runs on the board, and in bowling there really is no defense, so that's your only option. It's not like you can have a fireball and pitcher come in there throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Well, there is defense in bowling. If you crackle a bottle, you can throw your opponent off, or smear some graphite or baby powder in their thumb hole when they're not looking.
I don't think we'll see that. And well, it's kind of surprising. Lane 27, we've seen kind of hook up for him nice on his first couple of shots, and that one just kind of held a little bit, and you can see
he knows
at the back
his
of the ball
hand,
return. Yeah,
his hand just didn't get through it. And again, he's not using his A game release. It's probably a B or C game release, and if you just miss it a little bit and you throw hard, bucket's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'd like to take his C game release, make it my A game release sometimes.
Yeah,
wow,
most bowlers would, and that's a costly error there. It puts Kyle right back in the match.
Yeah, and we're going to get to our commercial break in this match. Joey and I back from GRC in just a couple of minutes. Back from Cotie Recreation Center, and Joey, Kyle Anderson just got a huge break to get himself back in this match, thanks to Ryan's chop in the 5th frame.
Right, not only did Ryan open, but 6th count on the first ball cost pins. See if Kyle can rebound, and we kind of knew he would. Big shot there, and kind of gets him, within about 9 pins, Phil? 8 pins?
8 pins right now, yep. Double here can get Kyle the lead. So we'll have to see what he can do on solving the riddle. That's lane 27 for him.
Yeah, that lane's been pesky all day, and he's owned the right lane. Now, last time on this lane, he came a little light, which was his first ball all day, light on that lane. Good speed. Definitely didn't come light, Phil. He kind of gave it a little bit extra.
So with that, Kyle's going to need to spare this to maintain staying within a mark for the match.
And, with the way these backhands hook, Phil, this is no gimme. Even with a spare ball, hard and straight, you can still chop it. Throws are from the left side of the lane. Interesting.
Wow.
He caught some oil there, Phil.
Yes, he did, and that's going to put him down by 20 sticks. Boy, it's tough. After your opponent gives you a big break, you turn around and hand it right back to him. And you know Ryan here, as you said before, Joey, that shark smells a little blood in the water. And Ryan's got that fin out.
Yeah, and he's on his good lane. He hasn't missed this lane yet, and I think if he gets it off his hand clean, he'll be okay. A little right of target, and it didn't make the corner. And again, when you use a straighter release, your miss room might be better to miss left of target, not right of target.
Yeah, and with the spares that we've seen today on the left side being really tough for the right-handed bowlers between the girls division and the boys division, I don't envy him trying to make this shot.
No, this is he's going to probably play from the right side, center of the lane, and it hooked instantly, and that surprised me that he'd move into a whole new zone on the lane. That ball hooked 5 to 10 feet earlier than I think he wanted it to.
Yeah, inside that 13th board, as we said, there was that second zone the bowlers can play, but once you get inside of that, it is bone dry, and that ball just flew.
Yeah, and I think he's wondering, why did I do that? Why not shoot it off my strike line and just move my target a little left, put a little hook on it? Yeah, but it's over and done.
Yeah, he still has the lead, and that's the one thing he's got to focus on right now is staying in that lead. And once again, comes up a little light, and he's got to face the same thing again.
On a lane that might even be trickier, but we'll see if he attacks the spare from the same part of the lane.
So that ball just turned and stopped.
Yeah, same situation. Ryan's bio sheet wants to thank Patty and Phil Onkyo, naturally, Phil Brilo for all the fine tournaments he runs, Lanny Borsch for drilling his equipment as well as it can be drilled, and for EFX for sponsoring, as well as Ebonite Bowl to Win in big bold print.
Yeah, a lot of Ebonite products, Hammer products in Ryan's bag, and appreciate the support that Hammer's given us over the last couple of seasons, but they're going to move on after this tournament, and hopefully we'll have a big announcement for everybody about a new title sponsor for the U Challenge Series, getting into our 2011-12 season very shortly. Kyle looking to stay hot in lane 28, and he does.
Smells that blood. Big strike, and again, he's off and open there, that chop. Or not really chop. He missed that spare because he didn't hit the front pin.
Yeah.
So again, good lane. Now he's going to move to the challenging lane of the two.
And a strike here can get Kyle a 1-pin lead getting into the last 3 frames of the game.
Yeah, and I think Kyle knows this is the match right here. Smart kid, he knows bowling, he knows scoring. High pocket. Could have been a split, Phil.
Could have easily been I think I would have seen a 6-7-10, but with my lack of power and speed there. But Kyle puts it all together in the equation, and just watch that head pin get to the sideboard with the 3, take out the 6-10, and the 7 goes down as well.
And that's not luck. That's good roll on the ball. Even though it hit high pocket, good roll on the ball gets it done better sometimes than bad roll.
Exactly. So lack of deflection is a bowler's friend when you get to the pins.
And we almost saw 3 consecutive 2-8s, but he caught the mixer on that one. Looks like he moved everything in a little bit, Phil.
Yeah. So looks like he's going to try to play it a little straighter. And I missed that he made a ball change as well, Joey. Looks like he went to the Ebonite Mission.
Yeah, he went to a stronger ball that he had used during qualifying. I believe he had been using a Hammer Onyx Vibe to start.
Yeah.
So he opted to move in with a little stronger ball and play a little bit more out and in. And oops. Well, again, that lane.
He forgot the out on that shot. That was definitely in the whole way.
And first shot with a new ball on a different lane, and now he sees why that lane kind of ate Cotie up.
And right there, unless he gets a miracle conversion here, or Kyle manages to just fall on his face in 9th and 10th frames, this one's pretty much over.
He did the smart thing, take 3, but it's almost to the point he needed to go for it, especially with Kyle on a double.
Well, Ryan was looking for his 3rd Hammer U Challenge title of the year. Kyle here, if he win with winning today, would get his 2nd Hammer U Challenge title of the season, so they'd be tied for the, I guess you could say, league lead in titles. Kyle's got a couple more tournaments under his belt, so he's going to take the scholarship money lead for the season at well over $1,200.
And if he was on tour, it'd be $120,000. And he leaves a light 3-pin, and I mean, he'll make this. He's got 200 pretty much in the books here, and mathematically, Ryan cannot get 200, so he'll make the spare here.
Yeah, Ryan's max is 199. If Kyle goes spare strike spare, he's at 203. So
here we see Ryan come out of the blocks with the front four, match well in hand, but like we mentioned earlier, it's like a ball game. It's not over after 4 innings, and a couple errant shots was his undoing.
It's all it takes in kind of a grind-out match like this is that one more error you make than your opponent. It definitely wasn't a case of somebody getting a break as compared to someone else. Both bowlers have made a couple of errant shots and gotten what they've deserved.
And Ryan only went, nose one shot when he left the big 5. Otherwise, it was light pocket bucket, light pocket 2-8, 2-8. So they weren't horrible shots by any means.
Not at all. And there is the shot that locks everything up for Kyle Anderson. Going to get that nice chunk of scholarship money again, along with that hammer bowling ball. The last hammer bowling ball, unfortunately, we're awarding for the U Challenge Series, but I think things are going to be bigger and better for a 2011-12 season, and we'll have some announcements about that very, very soon. And we're definitely going to be back on Time Warner Cable Sports 32, thanks to our friends there. Back with U Challenge Series bowling, high school bowling, the Action Heating and Cooling Tournament Series.
Yeah,
it's going to be a good year.
It doesn't get any better, Phil. In fact, I was recently down in Texas at the Bowl Expo, and there was bowlers down there talking about the fine work you do up here. You're known nationwide more than you think, in that you've taken the responsibility to run these tournaments, to try and get the sport on TV, and they wish they had someone in their area doing what you do.
That's nice to hear. So it's very nice to hear. All the hard work's paying off, and it's not just for me and you, Joey. It's for the future of the sport, and we're seeing that right here with.
It's for the kids.
Yep.
I mean, without future bowlers, the sport could roll up and die, and we love to see it.
Exactly. I mean, we don't want these kids throwing buggy whips out there, I guess, to kind of paraphrase something.
Ryan going through the motions rather quickly here, trying to get off the lanes. Yeah, ho-hum.
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit of a frustration shot there.
Yeah, definitely not happy with the second place finish today, especially with the lead he had and going into the final round. But bowling, I believe somebody said it at the Women's U.S. Open, bowling's the only sport where you have to win the championship twice. And Kelly Kulik had a big lead at the Women's U.S. Open and lost the one step ladder match she had to face Leanne Holstenberg, and unfortunately, it's part of the sport and part of the format of the tournaments.
And there's only one happy person at the end of the tournament as well, it seems. But, Ryan doesn't need to hang his head in shame. I mean, the 189 with just a couple errant shots could have had this match, but, he's going to win his share before it's all said and done.
Oh, absolutely. Him and his girlfriend, Katie Zwiefelhoff. We saw Katie on the Girls Show. We'll see her next in the team match, and they can be the future couple of Wisconsin bowling. So with that, we're going to come back with our border battle team match between Wisconsin and Illinois, and Joyce and I will be back with that in just a couple of minutes. The battle everyone's waited all year for, Team Illinois versus Team Wisconsin here at the Border Bear Team Challenge. Joe Scamasi leading it off for Team Illinois, and Joey, once again, Team Wisconsin's got their work cut out for them a bit.
Well, yes, they do, but if it's anything like a Packer-Bear game, we know the Packers are going to come out on top.
Yeah, records don't matter going in. Gender doesn't matter going in, even though Team Illinois only has one lady on the team as compared to Wisconsin's 3, but Joe gets them off to a nice start.
Pretty nice game there for Joe. Nice and smooth at the bottom, good extension, good reach. These kids are athletes.
Yeah, you see Joe coming off the lanes, high-fiving Sean Woshner, coach of UW Whitewater, where Joe's going to be attending next year. He's helping coach the Illinois team. I don't think they need much help from him right now, though.
No, just face him toward the pin and let him go. First look at Ashley Leonard. Just a touch high, leaves a 4-7.
Ashley finished second in the girls' division of the border battle. So how we make the teams is we take the top finishers from each state in this tournament, throw them on their teams, put them together for the one-game match, and the winning team, each member gets $50 in scholarship money, courtesy of Gutormson Recreation Center. So we want to thank them for boosting the prize fund for the kids this tournament. And errant shot by
just
Ashley.
A touch wide of that, and she's using a hammer vibe, which goes pretty straight. But if you miss a little left of target, there's not much chance to make that 4-7.
Billy Forsch from Chicago, Brother Rice High School. He bowls for down there. Second time we've seen him on TV. We saw him up at the Kalahari Triple Threat Tournament, and Billy, that smooth stroking game, but a little slow on that short pattern, and that crosses over.
Yeah, not quite the height of a backswing of a Matt Zagar or Ryan Zagar. I should clarify that. The younger and better of the two bowlers.
So Billy waiting for his spare ball to come back. Want to thank his mom and dad and thank his girlfriend, the EFX Bowling Division winner of the Border Battle Tournament, Taylor Milan. So little cross-border romance there. Taylor Beeling from Burlington and Billy with a little bit of a mistake, hooking past that 5 pin.
So that's we've seen back-to-back mistakes here by the kids on spares, and we know the pattern can be a little challenging out here. So we'll see if Nicole can help Team Wisconsin bounce back here.
Smooth throwing lefty from Wild Rose. Off her hand, pretty nice, Joey. Oh.
Just a soft corner pin, and that's an easy adjustment. Phil, what would you do if you leave a soft 7-pin on a good release?
Next time up on that, I would probably just move my feet over just about a half a board to the left, and that should make a big enough adjustment. Ball rolling in the pocket a little stronger, and have that 4-pin take out the 7.
Nicole opting to use her pink spare ball. Cross lane makes it a little easier.
Whoa!
Stick, and she keeps her balance, stays behind line. You and I would have fallen over on that one.
Yeah, I'm a little front heavy as it is, though, in the lower part of the midsection there. So yeah, that probably would have carried me over. Another look at Nicole Powell. Last time you saw her, just like Billy, up at the Triple Threat Team Tournament. Nicole bowls for Sandberg High School in Orland Park, Illinois. And once again, another smooth stroking lefty out there, 4 steps.
Good reach, good roll. Just missed her target by a little, Phil.
Yeah, just a little farther left, and unfortunately with the ball she's using, a Nomad Dagger, I don't think it's going to get the recovery for her like we saw for Kyle Anderson a little bit earlier. I think Kyle would have had 10 in the pit on that shot. Sean giving Nicole a little word of advice before getting up to work on that spare. Nicole's high game, 279, high series of 741. Want to thank her parents and her sister for coming up today and cheering her on, and a nice cover.
Now we get our first look at one of Wisconsin's finest female bowlers, 18 years of age, Cotie Zwiefelhofer, who's currently dating Ryan Zagar, son of Matt Zagar.
Cotie, winner of the girls division of the Border Battle, and we didn't see her do that too often during her matches, Joey.
No, this pattern's looking tougher than I thought it would play, but Cotie will figure it out. High game of 299, high series 757. Opts for her spare ball.
One of those nice high-five gear balls with the UW Warhawk logo on it, but
What do you think, Phil, on a 1-2-4? Hook it or go straight with a spare ball?
I would have hooked it on that one, especially with the way the pattern's naturally hooking with it only being 34 feet in length. And
Yeah, that's a challenging spare no matter what.
yeah, here's a young man, Nick Crash Crummel. Nickname he just recently achieved. We won't get into details on him for that, but high game of 300, high series of 791, and almost gets a lucky break on a crossover, just leaving a 10.
He'll be happy with 9 spare out of that, and again, a little more hook than I think the kids are used to seeing, and they're seeing some hang spots on the lane, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, the pattern's pretty chewed up. It's a short pattern. The bowlers are playing all over the place, and with the different styles out here, it's going to be a little bit of a grind out in this team shootout format. The Baker team. Well to the left of the approach, no problem covering that up, textbook. And hey, Joy, look who just stopped by the booth. Old friend of the Central Bowling Concepts and Bowlers Pro Shop, Chris Kovas.
Good friend of ours for about 30 years. Twice ABC champion, once in doubles, once in all events, back a few years. Say hi to everybody, Chris.
Hey Joey, hey Phil, nice to be here.
What years were those titles?
I won all events in 1978, and I won doubles with a gentleman from Milwaukee, John Megna, in 1984.
John Magna, been around for years, has his pro shop on the west side of Milwaukee as well. And
So when you won the all events title, Chris, this is when the high-powered balls of today weren't in existence. What was your 9-game total?
It wasn't that high. It was only 1994.
Well, it was high enough, Chris.
Yes, I won by 30 pins. It was a LT48 is what I used for all 9 games. Quite a difference from the new equipment nowadays.
But in its day,
It was
the
one
strongest ball.
Yes, it was a hooking ball back in those days.
And 1994 today would probably get you about 150th place on the all events list.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it took.
It's a little different nowadays.
I think Matt Wagon won the all events this year with a 2268, if memory serves me correct.
Yep.
And the way he did it, back-to-back 800 series
Wow.
in doubles and singles.
Yes, indeed. The only person to do that in the history of the ABC/USBC Open Tournament. And Kyle not happy with that shot, going high once again to leave a 4-7. Really?
Yeah, and Kyle's had a few 800s, Phil. What is his high set?
836. He's had 7 800 series, 16 300 games, all at 18 years old. And when he gets out to St. Ambrose in the fall, something tells me he's going to be in that same anchor position you see today for that college team.
Now here's a friend of ours, Ryan Zagar, Matt's son. And Chris, you used to bowl with his dad, didn't you, a few years ago?
Yes, I did. I bowled in a couple of different leagues with Matt. Matt's a good guy. I didn't know he had a son that was bowling, probably better than Matt.
Who throws it better, Chris?
Well, they both got a big high backswing. Probably Ryan has a little better release than Matt. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, and they got and Ryan's younger brother Kyle, all of 13 years old, finished in second place in the middle school tournament this year for the state event, and lefty coming out of that family of the Zagar
Well, it's
family.
about time, right, Phil?
Yes, indeed.
But I'll tell you, Matt, very proud of his sons, I'm sure, and you want to see your kids be better than you were.
Yes, indeed. And with that, we're going to get into the commercial break with Wisconsin down by 26 pins. Join us when we come back. And we're back for the second half of the team challenge here at the EFXBowling.com border battle. And Joey, Team Illinois, and Joe Scamasi here with a big 26-pin lead.
Yeah, it's big, but you know as well as I do, it's not over until it's over, and the last half much more important than the first half.
And that gets a lucky break. Joe 2 for 2 on both sides of the pocket today.
Yeah, he's showing his versatility. I mean, it really helps increase your percentages, Phil, if you can carry both sides of that headband.
Exactly. Now Ashley Linhart's going to have to bounce back. She opened the first frame for Team Wisconsin.
Yeah, she came a little high, opening shot, left a 4-7, and just squirted by the 4-pin. Definitely not high on that shot, and that didn't miss the headpin by much, Phil.
No, but with Ashley's strong forward roll, if the ball gets a little bit right, it doesn't have that chance to recover up to the headpin. You just see that ball didn't deflect at all. When it did hit the 3-pin square, it kept chugging straight through, but tough to carry the strike if you don't hit the headpin at all.
Be an easy enough spare for Ashley. All right, that was a good release, Phil. A little bit of side rotation on that. Covers the 1-2.
Gets it done nicely and helps keep Team Wisconsin within 26 pins. And Billy Forsher, let's see if he can get a double and expand that Team Flatland lead.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for the home team here, so he crossed over the last shot. It's nice and smooth off the hand. A beautiful shot in the pocket, but a soft 10-pin.
Yeah, that soft roll, a little bit of deflection on the 3-pin into the 6. Replay on it. Yep, we get the replay on it. You just watch that 6-pin just sit in the gutter and gets nowhere near the 10.
Yeah, and it looks like he needs just a little more ball speed on there, Phil, and that pin carry would be a little better, but that'll come.
Oh yeah, he's only 15 years old, so just got done with his, I believe, sophomore year at Brother Rice High School, so he'll have 2 more years of high school bowling in Illinois to look forward to. And up next, Nicole Klutchin out of Wild Rose, trying to keep Team Wisconsin in the game.
Well, we need to start sooner or later, Phil. We're down a bunch. She knows how to throw strikes. And she gets away with a crossover, but you can't get a double unless you get the first one.
That's right. And, everybody needs a break here or there. And that's going to help Team Wisconsin stay within that 26-pin margin. And that smooth lefty Nicole Powell out of Illinois. We got a smooth lefty female on each team today, Joey.
Quite a few left-handers today, Phil. Why do you think that is?
Shorter patterns. Lefties have a natural tendency to migrate to the outside of the lane for some reason, and that just didn't get all the way back up for her.
No, that was close, Phil. I mean, another quarter inch or so, and she might have carried the light mixer, but she's left herself a very difficult split. Odds, you would say 6-1 or a little higher even?
6 to 8, yeah, 6-1, 8-1, right in there, especially in this situation. But with the lead, she's probably going to make sure she gets 2 on this shot, because every pin's going to count at the end of this match, especially with that $50 bowler scholarship money on the line.
A lot of friction in the middle of the lane. She takes 1, so that cost her an extra pin or 2.
Drops the lead down to 11 pins for Team Illinois, and Katie Zwieffelhofer looking for a little redemption here, I think, Joey.
Well, Katie is a veteran, and if anyone's going to get the job done, Katie's our girl. Nice off the hand, and another crossover, Phil. This pattern is tough.
Yes, it is. Katie, that was just left out of her hand. She's going to take the break. You can't give it back, but that gets Team Wisconsin within 1 pin with 2 frames to go. And Nick Crummel finding himself in a situation he hasn't found himself before, under the TV lights, battling for a championship here. Nice off his hand, and gets a great shot.
And that was a good shot. Again, this pattern's playing pretty tough right now, Phil. The kids have to be pretty accurate and get good roll on the ball for carry, and he got the 5-9. Threw it to the right.
That's the Steve Grabowski.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
And loving father Ted, when the 5-pin is blown to the left, we call it a Ted Grabowski.
Yes, indeed. Holbek.
Power man Cotie. Oh, yeah, baby. That's a turkey, and Team Wisconsin's here to play.
Yes, indeed, and that gets Team Wisconsin in the lead by 9 pins, but no lead is safe if it's less than a mark, and Kyle Anderson is up for your team.
Right, but Kyle only gets, well, he gets 2 shots here, you're right.
And Team Illinois' max right now is 190 if Kyle were to strike out. Team Wisconsin, if they went spare strike in the 10th, would be in the 180s.
So he can shut them out right here.
So he could force Ryan Zagar to step up and strike on the first ball of the 10th frame if Kyle can double here. Little right out of his hand, I should say.
Another crossover. Boy, we've never seen this many crossovers, Phil, in a match.
No, but this short pattern, a lot of play on it. 34 feet of oil, 26 feet of dry. That dry is taking over, and you can just see Kyle right there. Unusual for him to be that far off on a shot.
Right, and it's possible a one-board error at the arrows, 15 feet away, can end up being a 3-board error down lane.
He's going to just take that lane out of play, switches to the spare ball, and powers that 5-pin out of there.
Right, so a maximum score of 170. Kind of surprising.
A little surprising. Couple errant shots in there for Team Illinois, but Team Wisconsin's had a couple errant shots and a couple opens as well, and it's not over yet. Ryan Zagar last time up, the big 4, and he's going to need him to mark and get good count, depending on what Kyle does here in the fill ball.
So it is still anyone's match, and this is the way we like him. We like him to go down to the 10th frame.
It doesn't have to be a high-scoring match to be exciting, and right now, Ryan Zagar needs a mark to maintain, because if he went 9 miss right now, that would put him at 167. So he needs to mark.
See if he makes an adjustment, since he did lead the big 4 last time up. He moved inside. Threw a great shot, Phil, I thought. The ball just didn't tip.
Just didn't tip on the end, and I do not. Wow. Having to make a bucket on this condition to win, not just for you, but your 4 teammates, we're going to see what this young man's made of right here. No doubt about that.
Stays with his strike ball, and primarily because there's that back pin, the 8-pin, so you need a little bit of hooking action, as not to see too much deflection.
This is for the $50 extra scholarship money for each Team Wisconsin member, and he gets them all.
Well done, and that's no gimme by any means, and he's breathing a sigh of relief there, Phil, but it's still not over.
Yeah, 5 pins here is a win. So he needs to get 5.
So he should go hard and straight down the middle.
I would think you're going to see exactly what we saw in the last shot, maybe just a hair slower or a hair more left. You don't want to give the head pin away on this shot, because even if you Greek church, it's still enough to win. And that should be a winner. 8's enough.
As it is.
Team Wisconsin, for the 2nd year in a row, pulls out the Border Battle Team Challenge. Joey and I will be back to wrap up this last Hammer U Challenge show for the 2010-11 season in just a couple of minutes.
Barbiere's, a Milwaukee institution since 1963. Great Italian food for dine-in or carry-out, and great times for your family and friends. Barbiere's, in the heart of South Milwaukee, and near Miller Park on Blue Mound Road.
Well, Joey, tough battling all day on the TV shows today. Kyle Anderson, Ryan Zagar, back and forth, and they kind of split things today, but Kyle gets the big check.
Yeah, a tough battle and quality players on a tough pattern, and again, you got to, the cream rises to the top, they always say, right? And there's a reason. It's hard work, perseverance, practice, dedication to the sport, and Kyle showed why he's one of the best there is.
Ryan exacting a little bit of revenge during the team shootout match for Team Wisconsin. Had to make that bucket in the 10th frame. Not an easy thing to do with your 4 teammates cheering you on.
Kind of reminded me of when Norm Duke had to make that bucket to win the U.S. Open, and Ryan threw it every bit as well as Normie did. That's a lot of ways to miss that spare, but he threw it about as well as you can throw a ball.
With that, that's the end of our 2010-2011 Hammer Youth Challenge season. We'll be back with more Youth Challenge action thanks to our friends at Time Warner Cable Sports. Watch the next show coming up shortly. For my friend Joey Sarar, I'm Phil Brylow, and parents, take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life. We'll see you again real soon.